In the lineup today, we've got the legendary, unbreakable, ultralight, lean mean fighting machine Yamaha WR250R versus the weekend adventurer, green laning, easygoing Royal Enfield Himalayan. A lot of people have been recently flocking towards the Royal Enfield Himalayan due to its simplistic design, low seat height, rugged appearance and great fuel mileage. Although the Himalayan is perceived as a casual off-roader, more of a weekend adventure bike, we want to know, how does it compare to one of the greatest adventure legends like the Yamaha WR250R? Stay tuned till the end of the video to get the full comparison. Oh, fuck! First of all, let's start with the specs. Particularly, we want to pay attention to the weight of both bikes, the ground clearance, suspension and power. Firstly, the WR250 weighs 126 kilograms dry, while the Himalayan weighs 185 kilograms dry. This is a huge disadvantage as the Himalayan doesn't really offer any extra horsepower or torque, however weighs much more. The WR250 outputs 30 horsepower and 17.5 foot-pounds of torque, while the Himalayan outputs only 24.5 horsepower but a higher torque of 23.6 foot-pounds of torque. The WR250R sports a ground clearance of 11.8 inches with a front suspension travel of over 10 inches, while the Himalayan 8.6 inches of ground clearance and a front suspension travel of 7.8 inches. In addition to this, the WR has a 21-inch front tyre and an 18-inch rear, while the Himalayan only has a 17-inch rear tyre. When looking at the specs, the WR definitely beats the Himalayan in regards to all of the important specs for off-roading. The WR is ultra light, has better suspension, a higher ground clearance and a more powerful engine. It's kind of confusing to see that the Himalayan, which has a 411cc engine, only outputs 24.5 horsepower. Combined with its weight, this gives very minimal power. But let's back up for a minute. Remember, the Himalayan outputs 23.6 foot-pounds of torque and the WR only 17.5, and this is a very important number when it comes to riding off-road. The Himalayan also outputs this amount of torque at only 4,500 RPMs, while the WR has to really rev for its power. All of these specs now fit into my personal experience of both bikes. The WR seems to be a highly excited, responsive and nimble adventure bike, whereas the Himalayan is more of a tractor. It has a low center of gravity, low seat height, a heavier weight, but the higher torque makes up for everything else. The Himalayan just seems to keep chugging along, climbing up those trails and hill climbs, chugging along like a fucking tractor. And this is why my hat goes off to the engineers who designed the Royal Enfield Himalayan. It combines some great elements together to create an awesome riding experience. A reasonably priced bike that gives a great fuel mileage, comfortable, capable on-road and off-road, although the Yamaha WR250 is definitely the king of small adventure bikes. The Royal Enfield Himalayan could definitely be the princess, and I mean that in a good way. Thanks for watching guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button and check you on the future videos.